Good morning, everyone, and Chodesh Tov. Yesher Koach Lewis on davening Hallel for the first time. We know that you are auditioning for Pesach. So today's Mishnah is Mishnah 7 in the third parak, the third chapter of Pirkei Avot, and it is a teaching in the name of Rabbi Chalafta ben Dosa, who lived in Kfar Hanania. Well, we don't know very much about this particular sage, other than that he was fifth generation of the Tanaim. He's called in other places Rabbi Nechunya, in other places we don't even find him mentioned as the son of Dosa. And in fact, he appears very seldom. We find him in only one other place in Talmud, apparently. But it does appear that he is a pupil of Rabbi Meir, because he gives teachings in Rabbi Meir's name, which means that he would have been his principal teacher. At any rate, his teaching over here is once again about the importance of Torah study, that when 10 people sit together and they occupy themselves in the study of the Torah, the Shekhinah, the divine presence is amongst them. And he goes on to say the same thing applies when there are 5 people, when there are 3 people, when there are 2 people, and even when there's 1 person. So once again, this is a Mishnah, as we've had previously, that is emphasizing the study of Torah, and that's no surprise, because during this period of time, of course, Torah study was banned. It was very difficult. This is under Roman occupation. They were not permitted to study Torah, and therefore it would have been natural for the sages to continue to emphasize its importance. And of course, for us as well today, for other reasons it's important, because today we have all the freedom to study Torah, but nevertheless we neglect it. So therefore we have to emphasize these things. At any rate, there's this very well-known story about the study of Torah under these very, very difficult circumstances. And the Talmud itself gives us this anecdote, because the government of Rome had issued a very severe decree that forbade the Jewish people to study Torah altogether. And one day, Pappus ben Yehuda found Rabbi Akiva continuing business as usual. And he used to lecture to large numbers, vast numbers of students, and they were involved in Torah study, and they were earnest, and they're passionate, and they're continuing. And so he goes up to Rabbi Akiva, and he says to him, Akiva, he says in amazement, aren't you afraid of the government? If the Romans get wind of what you're doing, you're going to have to pay with your life. And so Rabbi Akiva says to him, gave him this very famous parable. He says, a fox was once standing by the banks of a river, and is watching the fish swimming quickly backwards and forwards, and it's a very hungry fox, and it knows that it can't catch the fish while they're in the water. So he calls out to one of the fish. He says to him, tell me, he says, why are you swimming in such a hurry? What's the big hurry? And so the fish reply, no, we're afraid of the nets. The people these human beings have put up nets over here. We have to swim very, very quickly in order to be able to avoid all the nets. So the sly fox says to them, well, I'll tell you what, I've got a very good suggestion for you. Why not come onto dry land, come out of the water? It's much safer up over here, and I'll look after you. So the fish just turned around to the fox and laughed at him. They said, you've got to be kidding. Says, and you're supposed to be the cleverest and the slyest of all the animals? He says, you're not clever, you're stupid. He says, if we are not safe in the water, which is our natural habitat, how much greater we would be in peril if we left our natural habitat and we went and put ourselves into a fatal environment. And that's what Rabbi Akiva said. If we are beset by enemies, when we are doing what we're supposed to be doing, and we are in our natural environment studying Torah, he says, and about which the Almighty says, this is your life, and this is the length of your days, how much greater would be our mortal danger if we were tempted to assimilate. And of course, he was absolutely right.